Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock, a live stream for February 10th. Very exciting day today. We're actually going to bring on a surprise guest. We're going to have a surprise guest in addition to, Empower Clinics, i3 Interactive, which is a debut presentation. So again, for anybody that's tuning in for the first time, our goal is to bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive market opportunities at a key inflection point with multiple catalysts in place. Usually when I start these live streams, I say, we've had a bunch of them in the recent months, in the last 12 months. But today you're actually going to meet one of the companies that's actually, it's setting a record for fastest to join our 10x club. Empower Clinics is up, I think today it's up 1,400% already in 5 months. So it's a stock that we introduced at a nickel. It's up, I think, 82 cents today. So I haven't done the math yet. Maybe somebody in the chat can do the math. But before we do that, before I introduce Empower Clinics, I'm going to bring on a surprise guest. Does anybody in the audience in our live chat have anybody know who it is? Okay. All right. Tomo's is getting rich. All right. 1,400%. Okay. 1,400% is Empower Clinics. Okay. So let's meet our surprise guest. Ready? Todd.
Jack.
Welcome to the program.
I said I wasn't going to do this. I don't like surprises. You're scaring me with Christopher Walken of finance. Don't ever surprise me again.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave. Sorry. I said I wasn't going to do that. I really apologize. Yeah. How are you? How are you, friend?
Fantastic, Todd. Fantastic. I know you have only like a couple minutes. You were doing a quick drop. This is the what do they call in the kidnapping business, a proof of life. When somebody's gone for a while, you show them with today's newspaper to make sure they're alive.
I'm still here. I'm still alive. I mean, I'm here traveling, but I'm traveling safely. I got my, a lot of people chirp me.
It's not vacation. Yeah. This is just to be clear.
No, right? A lot of people chirp me on Twitter. I wear this mask a lot, and a lot of people are like, "Is that like a jock strap?" And I used to play a bit of hockey. I'm from Canada. No, this is actually a great company called O2 Canada. Friends of mine. I don't think they're publicly traded. Okay. It's a safe mask, but I love walking around with this mask.
All right.
The iMicrodose Because mask, and we're gonna put those at imicrodose.ca, where I'll tell you, man, that is our clothing line website, and the hashtag Red Light Army hoodies, like off the charts in pre-order sales. Unbelievable stuff. So thank you to all the support of the Red Light Army. We love you so much.
Absolutely. Now Todd, you're where? You're in Saint Vincent right now, yeah?
Yeah, I apologize if it's windy. I have a lunch meeting here, and we sort of figured to jump on here very last minute because I had something very exciting I wanted to share, and you gave me this opportunity to do so. But in St. Vincent, man, and working alongside the government of St. Vincent, working alongside a lot of business individuals, doctors, chief medical officers, because of course we're looking to close on this acquisition with Mirror Life Sciences. It's only in a non-binding LOI. I'm always very clear and transparent about what we're doing, but we're doing our due diligence and lots of work. It is lots of work. When you do real deals, these things don't happen overnight. It has to go through lots of due diligence and careful due diligence because, of course, you want to represent the shareholder the best you can. So that's what we're doing right now.
Okay. So basically, so I just want to give people a quick update because, a lot of times, companies, they get busy and then we don't hear from them for a little while. And, but you're actually, but usually that's a good sign. It means something is happening. So so you're in St. Vincent, you have this deal that's going to be wrapping up soon, closing?
Listen, I mean, again, I don't ever want to put, finalize it. I don't want to stamp it of approval right now. I want to tell you that we're working very hard through it. I wouldn't be here if we weren't working hard through it. And we're meeting a lot of very interesting people. I mean, from the Minister of Agriculture, who's also the Minister of Industry here, of course, working with the group from Mirror Life Sciences, working, like I said, with the chief medical doctors, working with Invest St. Vincent people. And there's such a warm, open open, progressive culture. And I feel very blessed to be here, actually, and to be a part of the process of learning what their, forward thoughts are in terms of working with plant-based medicines like psilocybin, which of course we deal with in the Netherlands, in Holland, in Horst. And I know you have there it is.
Speaking
Look at this, everybody.
What is this? What is this image? You wanted me to put this up. What is this?
So this is an actual picture from yesterday in our farm in Horst, the Netherlands. And what you're looking at is 1 million grams of growth. You don't see all of it, of course. Expected to be 1 million grams of magic truffles that should be ready around sort of this mid-2021, a little bit before. And we're really pleased. The team down there, including our president, Hans Derricks, is working very hard. And this is actual growth. So when you talk about the psychedelic sector and you talk about psilocybin specifically, we'd like to think that at Red Light Holland, we're delivering, we're actually, growing, cultivating, harvesting, packaging, distributing. You could go to imicrodose.nl to find our iMicrodose products right now that you could buy in the Netherlands. We're very proud as a company in these early stages to be giving this light to our investors to show we're not just faces or concepts on a deck. We do. And we think, anyway, that we're the first ever publicly traded company in the world. I can't prove this, but I think we are, that actually sells microdose packs. And we're very proud of that.
Excellent. Todd, before I let you go, what's next? Because I know we're waiting for, when are you going to be on? What deal closes? When are you coming back for the full update?
Sure. Well, listen, whenever you'll have me, Christian Walken invites you, you go on. But listen, I love being on here, Jack, and I did want to give just a quick little, shout out, as we used to say in the radio biz, to everyone that's working so hard at Red Light Holland. And the idea is that we are a company that really supports those that support us. And we want to give back. We gave back with the Red Light Holland logo redesign contest, which, by the way, we're going to be revealing very soon, including the Wisdom Truffle. That's going to be all revealed very soon. And we're excited for that.
I'm looking forward to seeing that, actually.
Thank you, man. And listen, the whole thing is this. I love passion, and I think passion is what equals hard work. Clearly, I'm a very passionate guy. I go full in on everything I do. Obviously, being the CEO of Red Light Holland, that's the type of people we want to be surrounded by who help grow this company. So we did, obviously, we raised money recently. We have over $20 million in the bank. I'm supposed to say that's unaudited, but, it's over $20 million in the bank. We have another bought deal that was announced about a week ago that will bring in another $10 million. We, hasn't closed yet, but this has been announced. It's not selective disclosure. We've shared that. So we should have a significant amount of cash in Red Light Holland, somewhere in the likes, we're thinking $30 million, if not more. My point being is I can have now a use of proceeds approved by our board of directors to help make a more robust team and grow our staff. And we at Red Light Holland have announced that we want to give back to the supporters of Red Light Holland and to those that believe in the future of psychedelics. So please go and check out imicrodose.ca, where you can see the Red Light Holland wants to give you a job contest. They tell you not to point if you're in politics. I'm not pointing because it's like a negative thing. I'm pointing because we're positive, we're proud, and we want you to apply. Go on social media, tag at Red Light Holland, tag $Trip or $Truff, because that's how we can kind of reconcile all the posts and go. We're looking for content creators. We're looking for marketing managers. We're looking for graphic designers, video editors. We really want to work with the creative supporters of Red Light Holland, and we want to give you a job at industry standard, compensation. And we're really looking forward to doing that. It's going to be about a month-long contest. Please submit your best pitch to us, whether it's through video, whether it's through memes, whether it's through just written, if you're a bit shy in front of the camera. So we're really looking forward to giving back. And it's a tough time right now, Jack. A lot of people, and sadly, are out of work with the economy being in rough shape. So we want to be very humble by nature by giving back to those who support us. So please submit your best entries, and we look forward to going through them. And again, we can't thank you enough. So I don't know who created Red Light Army, but it's out there. And we're just very, I don't know, man. I can't even believe in the position we're in, and I'm really pleased to be in this position to help out.
Excellent. Okay, Todd, listen, thanks for the update. We're going to have you back as soon as possible. The stock is making highs today, new highs. So, it's already up, I don't know, is it 5X since December? So, you still have a long way to go. We got to get you to 10x and then 100x. So.
With that one last thing, if you wouldn't mind, I never make price projections, and I always tell people to do their careful due diligence. But what I would like to say is, if you have a dream and if you have a passion and if you work hard, please, people, go and find it and go get it. Last year at this time, we were doing our first raise as a private company. We maybe had just over $1 million. We were raising at 6 cents. We had people believe in what we were going to do, and especially the management team with people like me and Bruce Linton, etc. And look where we are today. So, I think I'm a great case study on how you can make stuff happen if you work hard to get it done. And we're so grateful again for the support. And I want everyone to live their dreams, most importantly. Go and make something happen, because it can. And I'm living proof of that. And Jack, thank you for the support.
Fantastic. Todd, we'll see you as soon as possible. Thank you again.
Great chat. Gotta go.
Okay. Okay. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to meet our next. Well, actually, this is our main event. Empower Clinics. Let's see. This is the one you've all been waiting for. Steve. Oh, I love this new background.
Good morning or good afternoon, as the case may be.
Steve, welcome back. It's been a while. I know, you were scheduled to be on, and people were worried, why is he rescheduled? I said, usually it's a good sign when somebody's rescheduling and they don't tell us like anything, there's no bad reason. So and obviously it's worked out. So Steve, first of all, I want to congratulate you. You are officially, as of yesterday, you became an official member of the 10 Baggers Club, the 10X. 10X, the stock it went from a nickel to 50 cents yesterday was the high, or I think 52. Today, I think we hit 82 cents Canadian, 82 cents Canadian. But Steve, this is, 10X is the beginning. You're not officially a super stock. You're still a next. It's potentially a super stock is when you become 100X. So we need you.
We're a work in progress. We're a work in progress. We're improving every day. That's the one commitment I can make to everybody who's following is myself and the team are working hard. We're working smart. We're working long hours. But we're building a great business that I'm really proud of. And we're getting a lot of support from followers, from shareholders. I see the messages every day coming in, and I'm so grateful for the support that we receive. And we are absolutely going to keep this going. We're not even close to where we need to go.
I agree. What did we have on the board here? This is, you see this message, right?
I see the message. If you pop them up, I can see the messages. Yeah.
So this is our new motto: 100 baggers, not 10X anymore. 100 baggers only. We're looking for the big winner. So so let's dive into the big news. Look, the big news that's driving the stock is you had the news yesterday with Rexall, and then today you got the COVID back-to-back. Amazing stuff. So first of all, let's talk about the Rexall partnership. So we have a lot of Americans in the audience. Who's Rexall? What is this deal?
Well, Rexall is a pharmacy group. They're the second largest pharmacy group in Canada. They are really a household name for Canadians. They're in all our neighborhoods around the country, and they represent really millions of Canadians locally around your own postcode, around your neighborhood, and they are at the point of delivering care. They're at the point of delivering pharmacy services. And we are so grateful to start, a new relationship with a partner like that. And, we anticipate, working very closely with them side by side as we kind of phase into rolling this out and building out healthcare centers.
Okay. Now, so for the American audience, so Rexall is like what? They're like a Walgreens, a CVS?
Well, if you think of all the pharmacy groups around, so in the U.S., I guess a comparable household name might be CVS or would be Walgreens as an example. So in Canada, we have a few pharmacy groups. And again, Rexall just happens to be one of the strongest brands out there.
Okay, so this is a big deal. How many locations do they have in Canada?
I believe Rexall have about 470 plus locations across the country. Certainly, Canada is a very large, diverse country, and there will be markets that they have more concentration than others. but it's certainly, an extensive brand with an extensive reach for sure.
Okay, and okay, so exactly what is the partnership? You're going to be putting in your clinics inside of Rexall pharmacies, yeah?
So we're starting, kind of a phased approach. Like any relationship or partnership, you typically kind of do pilots. You kind of roll out, kind of piece by piece. So we're targeting to open up healthcare centers either inside a Rexall pharmacy, perhaps on top of the pharmacy because that's the way the real estate is set up, or perhaps adjacent to the pharmacy. And we're targeting to start in the Ontario marketplace first. That's really what we've discussed with them going forward, and we have a kind of a process with them that is putting together a letter of intent, a binding letter of intent for a particular location, that's followed by a lease agreement, and we move forward from there. So every location's different. So we have to identify with them, what's the appropriate square footage that could be available? What would the lease terms look like? The square footage that's available is going to dictate how many medical doctors and how many practitioners we can bring to the location, which ultimately, kind of determines the scale of that location, how many patients we can serve, ultimately what the revenue model might look like for us is really a function of all of those factors.
Okay, so now these clinics, are they? What's going to be the branding? Are they called Empower or Rexall? What's going to be their branding? How are they going to be branded?
Well, it will be the branding is our brand. So we are obviously Empower Clinics at this stage. We are contemplating a new brand for our clinics in Canada. No final decision has been made on that, but we certainly are looking at how we're going to brand our clinic network or our healthcare network going forward, and then how that sort of rolls out to the public company world for us as well.
Okay, so really, I mean, so this is legitimately a game changer. Really a transformative deal for the company. I mean, this takes the company to a whole new level.
I mean, it does. I mean, we have been working very hard on our expansion capabilities, whether that's in the U.S. I've said before, I definitely wanted to come into the Canadian market. We identified the opportunity to do that, and this is leading us to these types of partnerships that we can put in place for the Canadian market. Our goal is to be a diverse, integrated healthcare company, and we've wanted to be able to find our path to move into primary care and paramedical services together. We want to serve millions of Canadians with our healthcare services, whether that's in clinic, whether it's virtual through telemedicine or teleconference, or even the delivery of mobile care. But the healthcare systems we're finding through the pandemic that we're all living with is really changing, and the way that we deliver care has to change also. And we think that working together with big brands in a form of a partnership is a great way to get to market and to get to millions of patients over time.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing. It's a game changer. I don't know I mean, to get a deal like that, I don't know, like you. I mean, I know this is a big company. I mean, this is like a serious operation. I'm sure they're very, they're very selective in who they do these type of partnerships with. So whatever you did, you must have, impressed them. What I want to ask you. What kind of revenues can you generate per location? Do you have an idea, like is it like a per square foot? I guess there's a model, right, based on population size or whatever it is.
Well, there are a number of factors that take place. The one thing about the healthcare system in Canada, particularly on the primary care side with medical doctors, there is really a sort of a weighted average formula per physician that we understand. And so to the extent that we know what our square footage availability will be, or leads to how many practitioners we can have in a particular space. So as an example, we're looking at space size ranges sort of between 1,500 square feet to maybe as much as 4,000 square feet. Now, obviously a 1,500 square foot is going to be on the smaller side. when we put in medical doctors and medical doctors and paramedical care services, these practitioners, we can't have as many. But we anticipate really looking at the range of 4 to 6 medical doctors per location and 4 to 6 paramedical practitioners. We understand the paramedical model. We know that, you know, on the smaller side, our clinics are going to generate somewhere around $75,000 to $80,000 per month, maybe going up to $120,000 per month on the paramedical services, and then you annualize that. We know that medical doctors, generally speaking, are going to be generating, you know, sort of $400,000 to $500,000 per physician on an annualized basis. So if we start to have that range of 4 to 6 physicians in a location, 4 to 6 practitioners, we start to figure out a range of a financial model that's quite predictable for us. And you know, to the extent that we can start to reach the milestones that we're looking for, you know, getting to 10 locations, 20 locations, 30 locations, over time, as we build these out and operate them, we'll have a long-term, stable, growing financial model on the healthcare services side, which has nothing to do with the R&D and the lab work that we're doing, but I'm just talking about the healthcare services, the clinic businesses itself.
This is just one part. This is really just one part of the business. Okay, so if anybody's doing the math, I don't know if anybody's got their pad and pen, whatever, out. So roughly 2 to 3 million per location is what I'm hearing, is what you can generate on revenues. 2 to 3 million per location. And how many locations are you anticipating in the next 18 months that you could launch, do you think?
Well, it really just depends on, you know, what we can do with our various partnerships, whether it's with, you know, great partners like Rexall and serving their markets and their customers, or it might be, you know, further acquisitions in certain markets that we may look at, or it may be just again, you know, other locations that we will open up on our own. But I think we tend to lean towards working in partnership, the way that we're starting now, as the most effective way to move forward. And to the extent that we do identify another acquisition of clinic groups that makes sense, then we'll absolutely, you know, look at that. And that is not limited to, say, a Canadian market. You know, when I'm talking about growth, you know, it's really, you know, right now for us, it's a North American market. The U.S. market is very important for us, and you know, we're certainly in dialogue, excuse me, with a number of opportunities down there as well.
Okay, so Rexall has 400 locations in Canada. I'm assuming, do they have deals with any other clinics, or this is the first time? Like, how many? Like, how does that work? Is this going to be?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're at the very beginning of this new relationship with them. We're looking at starting in the province of Ontario. Okay. It's, you know, obviously the largest market in Canada. We've got identified locations that seem to be really appropriate for us to start with, you know, get into an LOI, do a lease agreement, and then start the build out. So, you know, we're in that phase right now of identifying what would be the primary starting locations. But I would expect that, you know, we'll certainly be able to come back on here in the very near future to talk about, you know, what that next phase of rollout looks like, and commence the work, so that, you know, by time we get, you know, deeper into the first quarter, you know, we would anticipate that we're now building out locations, we're doing the tenants improvements, we're establishing a launch date for the location, and one of the things that really is our strength in all of this is the ability to recruit physicians. You know, it's critical in whatever the model is. Having real estate or access to real estate is one thing, but you still have to be able to recruit medical doctors, recruit paramedical practitioners, and then manage that, or manage them going forward, so that we can bring the best delivery of healthcare to patients in whatever community we might be starting in.
Okay. But okay, so I'm assuming, look, this is an organization that's you know, they got 400 locations. I think their parent company is, you know, a significant company. Excuse me. So, you know, I'm assuming that if it works out for the first, you know, for this Ontario thing, you know, they're gonna, you know, put you in, 100 plus locations, because it's a great, I mean, it's a very, I mean, the synergies are undeniable. I mean, this is like, I don't know, peanut butter and jelly, whatever, whatever the metaphor is. But I mean, the synergies are undeniable. People need access to healthcare, pharmacy. It's a no-brainer. So let's say, so it's possible. I'm throwing something out there. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but realistically, it's possible that you could be in, let's call it, 25 locations in 18 to 24 months. 25 locations is not a lot, really. It's
I guess maybe it's not a lot in terms of the market share for large groups, like this, but certainly that's a lot of clinics. It would be producing obviously significant, top line growth and EBITDA for our public company. I don't know where that's going to go. Again, as I was saying, with every new kind of partnership, you tend to start to roll out as a pilot program. We have to always continue to prove ourselves to whoever we work with, and the message,
obviously you have to deliver. Obviously, that you're going to have to deliver. Execution is key, and I know your background is in execution. That's kind of your.
It completely is. Execution is critical. We have to make ourselves as strong as we can possibly be. The stronger our company is, the stronger we will be for our partners, right? We have a great capital runway right now. Our balance sheet is strong. It's getting stronger every day. But as we continue to grow and gain strength, we can continue to be an even better partner. And the execution piece is critical for me, as you know. It's operational sort of perfection is important to me. Applying my Six Sigma training and methodologies to our operations is going to be mission critical for us as we join our partners, whoever they may be, and make sure that we're together with them and successful with them for years to come. And so that's kind of our game plan right now. And I think we'll revisit what our scale looks like going forward. It's early days, but we're certainly confident and we're optimistic. But we do know the one thing. The one thing is that we do know how to build out healthcare centers, recruit physicians, and manage physicians, and deliver great healthcare to patients.
Okay, I think though the takeaway here is that you already have right now. There's kind of there's a runway to 100 million revenues, because I'm looking that look, these guys have 400 locations. If you do your job, just get a thing. I'm sure they're going to love to have you in at least 10% of their locations, 40 locations in the next year, 2 years, whatever it is. 40 times 2.5 million, 3 million per locations, 2 to 3 million, whatever the number is. So it's 100 million revenue. So potentially that part of your business could be worth, in today's market, that's $1 billion. 10x, that's kind of the valuations. That's the comps. So that's, I think that's as an investor, that would be the takeaway. Okay, there's a kind of a path. There's a path to get there, because the road is paved.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's certainly we have a plan in place. We're working to execute on that plan, of course, and we're really focusing our efforts to be a diverse, integrated healthcare company. We have a number of facets to our business, but working with patients and managing physicians is a crucial key part of what we do. As part of our identity and our framework. Certainly moving into the laboratory space, the R&D behind that, serving the huge demand right now related to COVID-19 testing.
I'm going to get into the COVID. I want to get into this COVID. Yeah, we're going to get into the COVID stuff in just because that's the other big part of the story. But I think this right now, this Rexall deal is such a game changer for the whole story of this. It's an incredible thing. Now, I think what's also interesting is I actually made a note here, because you used the quote. I don't think I've heard you say this before, but your goal is to build a diversified, integrated healthcare company. I haven't heard that. I don't think I've heard that exact phrasing before, but that sounds like a a significant operation.
It does. I mean, I think again we've really found our stride. I think that we're meeting the market where the market wants us to be. We're in such an important time in our lives and in society, and to the extent that we can position our company and our focus to be a very strong player in integrated healthcare and the delivery of care, whatever that might look like, we believe is exactly how we should be investing our shareholders' funds. It's a kind of a combination of it's altruistic. We want to serve patients. We want to do right by society, but we are obviously running a business. We have shareholders. We need to bring return on investment to our shareholders. And so we're always careful. We're always responsible with the funds that we have control of. But you are right. I mean, we really have a vision of being a large, important, healthcare company for the future. And we're currently on the CSE. I think we have the ability to potentially, uplist to a bigger market in the future. I think we'll be deserving of it, and I think we'll be deserving of it, in the not too distant future.
Okay, let's. I'm going to go to the COVID thing right now. I want to jump into a couple of questions, maybe. Okay, so first we have a super chat. So Steve, we just made $50 here. Michael Mahendra is actually a big investor in CBDT from early on. CBDT, my first 10 bagger. Michael, now let's find out if it's going to be the 100 bagger, because if you get the 100 clinics, if you get 40 clinics, 100 million revenues, it's $1 billion valuation. How many shares out right now do you have? You got the warrant approximately. What's the number of shares out?
Well, if you go fully diluted, including warrants, I believe we sit about 330 million. So the float right now is about 290. And then, we've been obviously converting warrants of late. And that, has slowed down. Sort of the remaining holders of warrants tend to be our close, insiders. As an example, I have warrants, myself, but, I don't need to convert them. I don't want to convert them at this time. It's not necessary. And so we're seeing the rate of conversion slow down. We had a big rush of that in December and early January, and we're grateful for it. It's made our cash position very strong. But our operations are also performing exceptionally well right now. So we're generating cash in operations along with the cash that came in through the warrant conversion. So we're grateful to be in a position of having a very strong and comfortable balance sheet right now.
Okay, so basically right now the company is roughly market cap is 100 million plus cap. You got revenues. Do you want to talk about like what you expect to generate in 21? Is that because you want to talk about that, or is that you don't want to make projections?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a really interesting time with this concept of forecasting. We're working very closely with our accounting group and our auditors on our budgets for 2021, but things are changing so rapidly for us. If you talk to me, in the fourth quarter about maybe what we look like in 2021, it's accelerated so much. Where we sit today, early in the first quarter, we are seeing tremendous performance and success from Kai Medical. They have integrated and have grown at a faster rate than we even anticipated going into the acquisition. We're seeing great demand in all markets, whether it's US, it's Canada. We're having conversations about the Caribbean, about Mexico, and we just don't see the demand on the testing side slowing down at all. And obviously we'll talk a little bit about today's announcement with our medical.
Yeah, let's jump into that. Let's jump to, and then we'll go to more, because we've got a bunch of audience questions about the COVID testing, clinics, all that stuff. I hope we're gonna have time. We're gonna have you probably next week, because I want to break this out of the multiple. Okay, so you're gonna. So let's talk about today's announcement. Bring us up to date. What's happening with COVID?
Yeah. So we've previously announced that we developed, one of the investments that we made early with Kai Medical was giving them R&D dollars to get our own versions of COVID test to market. One of the things that we discovered through due diligence with the Kai acquisition was how much capability they had on the R&D side. But it took capital. We had to give them the capital, give them the resources, invest in their scientists. The result is we developed and put to market our Kai saliva test. So this is still a PCR test, which is the gold standard, has to be processed by a lab, but it's a much more effective, less intrusive way to collect the specimen because it's saliva-based. You don't have to use the nasopharyngeal swab to do that. So we wanted to make sure that we're bringing those products to Canada as well as we were developing our Canadian footprint. But to do that correctly, you have to have a medical device license called an MDEL, M-D-E-L, the Medical Device Establishment License, that allows you to import, distribute, and sell under Health Canada guidelines. So we had to figure out a way to do that. So we put our application in for our own direct MDEL. Health Canada is fairly backed up, to be polite, and things don't get kind of through the system as quick as we all would like. So we decided, rather than wait and have sort of lost opportunity cost, we wanted to find a partner with an existing MDEL license that we could work with, we could piggyback with, and that's what we've done, and that's what we announced today. So our friends at MediPro Canada are doing a lot of great things. They open up a lot of doors. They've already been involved in working with PPE, working with other products related to the pandemic, but their strength is absolutely about networking and opening doors, whether it's public sector, private sector. And in spending time with that group, it became evident that they would be a great partner for us to work with, so that we can now start shipping our Kai medical saliva kits into Canada to make them available for Canadians, however we might distribute them, whether it's direct to consumer, in partnership with, with other groups. But we expect that our first shipments are going to start coming in this week, by the end of the week. And we'll start to get samples out to various groups to make sure that they can understand, what our saliva kit does, how it works, how it performs. And obviously, it's great for sales revenue. It's all processed by our lab. And we think it's going to be, a very good product for Canadians, and will help with this travel dilemma that we all have right now.
So, question coming in, Spencer's asking, how much does your COVID test kit cost?
Yeah, so from a retail standpoint, sort of direct to consumer, we're pricing it in and around about $150 US. And an important piece of that to understand is that includes shipping. And on a direct consumer basis, we have actually two shipments. There's an outbound shipment, but inside the test kit, after you collect your specimen and seal it, do your registration paperwork, we include a return courier envelope that's self-addressed to come back to our lab. So we have that second shipping cost that's included in that overall cost of the consumer.
Okay. I guess ask back up. We've got a lot of I think this is going to be available at Rexall.
We don't. There's nothing firm on that yet. We certainly look forward to the opportunity to start those discussions. No discussions with anybody could be had until we have our medical device license in place. And we're just fortunate to figure out a way to accelerate that. It was concerning me a little bit that it was going to take too long. There's too much need right now. The health system is under burden in Canada. Canadians need this product. And so, it was really incumbent upon me and our team to find a way to get through some of the challenges of the rules. But we think that this is a really great way to move forward and accelerate. And because I was concerned about, lost opportunity costs as well. The longer we would have a delay for whatever the reason the delays were, that is lost opportunity to distribute and sell our test kits to a very strong market, which is Canada.
Okay. Okay, so we got questions about where will these kits be sold? We got multiple questions. Are you partnerships with let's see, airlines? What's going on with airlines? That's a big topic of discussion.
Yeah. So as I've said previously, we're in conversation with airlines. We've had conversations with WestJet, conversations with Air Canada. We're talking to public sector. We're talking to private sector. We're talking to cruise lines. Every sector of the economy needs support. They need, in our opinion, they need PCR tests. We think the saliva version is a great way to go, particularly if you're having to provide multiple specimens weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. The swabs, the nasal swabs, can be fairly intrusive, and there can be a lot of discomfort with those. We absolutely feel that rapid antigen testing is very important. We're seeing really exceptional demand in the U.S. For our products, and our version of the rapid antigen test is currently submitted to Health Canada for approval, still pending approval. So I have no updates there on that, but we certainly see in the markets around the world the need for rapid antigen testing along with high quality PCR testing.
Okay, let's see here. Let me just catch the question. Let me jump back to a clinic question, and then we'll go back to question about is the deal with the Rexall on top of the 30 clinics that Dr. Rabinowitz is targeting to open?
So our team, our Canadian team of physicians led by Dr. Jordan and Dr. Aviv. I mean, we established long-term targets with them, and how we meet those targets will all be discovered over time. I think we have a very good plan in place together, and we're beginning to execute on that plan as everybody's seeing right now. So we're optimistic that over whatever period of time, over the next 12, 24 months, 36 months, that these guys are going to be able to deliver on those objectives. I feel they'll be able to exceed those over time. But it's why we have milestones. It's why we have incentives with our very important team members to motivate, to really make sure that people are connected to exactly the objectives of our public company going forward. So I think we'll have some nice updates for everybody as we roll through the quarters and we continue to execute on our milestones.
Okay, Spencer's asking, does your test kit detect the COVID variant? This is going to be the big issue. There's all these variants popping up now. This is it absolutely is going to be a big topic going forward. So at this stage, we don't have any evidence to the contrary. I don't have any news or messages from our scientists at the lab that the form of PCR tests that we utilize, and also the lab processes, the immunoassays that our lab developed for testing, and the test equipment that we have is not able to detect. Keep in mind an example. One of the test protocols that we have is the ability, we refer to it as the chi-ABC. So we're able to, if a patient or a consumer chooses, they can choose to simply have us process the specimen to discover COVID-19 only, or we can process it to discover COVID-19, influenza A, or influenza B. And as an example, right now in the lab with groups that are opting for the chi-ABC version, we are seeing a number of results come back that indicate influenza A, influenza B, but no COVID. And that's really just flu season, upon us. And but that is, we think it's important to understand that, because there is a lot of concern out there in society. If you have flu-like symptoms, we kind of tend to
default to, well, it must be COVID-19, but it may not be. Having the ability through our lab and through our scientists to detect and report back to the consumer and patient that in fact, no, you don't have COVID, you simply have the common flu. So we think that's going to be important. But the variant, will be a very important topic, and I think there's more to come on that. There's more discovery that we have to kind of work through as well from a scientific basis. So we'll probably talk about that further at later interviews.
Okay. Steve, it's very interesting that the last time I think you were on our live stream about a month ago, all the big questions were, why did the stock stop going up? It was, I think, 35 cents, and people were like panicking. Oh my God, it's supposed to be going up every day, and it was 30, and then today, it's double, almost not quite triple, but more than double, and it's amazing. So I'm surprised we don't have questions about the stock today. So all right, so we got a question here, a $5 super chat. Canuck 747. If you are traveling to Europe, how will the timing of the test work? Getting tests to USA lab and also getting results to be compliant, back to be compliant.
Yeah, so this
logistics. How will the logistics work?
Logistics are important. We think about this a lot. So, the executive orders related to travel are indicating that you must have a negative COVID test 72 hours prior to boarding your flight. What we like about our Kai saliva test is, if I was a traveler, you can take that test with you in your suitcase as you travel. The key is to remind yourself that once the 72-hour window starts, you need to provide the specimen and get it into the courier bag and overnight it to our lab. We process specimens every day. Our turnaround time is really 24 hours from the point in time that we receive it. So unfortunately, it's a tight window, but it's doable as long as the consumer, the traveler, is reminding themselves when that 72-hour window starts. How the test results are delivered is that our scientists process the specimen, you get the result, that is distributed through our lab information system, and is sent back to the consumer by secure email link or secure text message, or both. And I can tell you myself, I've been tested a number of times using our lab, and getting the result back is actually very effective. It's very simple. You can show it on your device of choice. You can print it. That was the way that I preferred to do it. And it then meets the guidelines. And there are specific guidelines, and it must be a high complexity CLIA certified laboratory, and it must be displayed correctly on the document that is produced, and it must include your name and information and the date and time of the processing. So we have all the features in terms of being an authorized lab to meet the guidelines. The key for travelers is to make sure that you start the process 72 hours beforehand, because it's a very tight window, unfortunately, but it's doable for sure.
Okay, Steve, we're going to wrap up. A couple more questions. Okay, so Curtis is asking, with only 4 airports in Canada for international flight, have you set up labs in those cities to make the logistics quicker?
Right. So currently the answer is no, we have not. So we are actively looking for lab acquisitions in Canada. We think that would be a very accretive step for us, and really getting our products to Canada. I mean, up until today, we didn't have our medical device license. So, we're not permitted to even send our samples in and import them. It would be a violation of Health Canada guidelines. We've crossed that hurdle now. So we are in a much better position to start to figure out how we bring our testing capabilities to the Canadian market. What do we do on the lab side? Are we partnering with someone? Are we acquiring labs ourselves? We have our own laboratory to utilize today. So we certainly have the ability to process specimens for Canadians. That is not an issue. There are many labs in Canada, medical groups in Canada, who are sending specimens to labs in the US because there's a backlog, with the Canadian lab sort of network. So we certainly feel like we can help with that because we've got capacity, and we're looking forward to getting our products into the country and into the hands of Canadians, potentially to help with the travel situation.
Okay. I want to ask you about so the U.S. market right now in terms of for the stock. I mean, right now, I think so far the stock has gotten to 80 cents, mostly on Canadian buyers. I don't think we have that many Americans in the stock yet. What's going on with? I think you need to be really DTC eligible to open up the stock to for more U.S. buyers. What's the kind of the status on getting that going?
Yeah, we've had a very important filing that we had to make, which is called the 20F document. It's a form of a year-end filing. It's a very kind of significant document that we file on EDGAR for the SEC. We file it to the OTC. So we've made that filing. The next thing that we've done is that we've filed for our DTC eligibility. So that work is happening right now. There's a specific procedure process that we have to go through. There's legal reviews that have to be done to get the DTC eligibility. But that has started. So I would anticipate, certainly over the next couple of weeks, but I'd say, before the end of this month, that we'll be able to come back and let everybody know that our DTC eligibility has been completed. And for all of the US followers that are down there, that's actually going to really open up the trading capability, because your brokerage firms will be able to electronically clear our trades. And that's proven to be important to drive liquidity. Obviously the US market is 10 times larger than the Canadian market. And so that's just another phase for us. It's an important step, but like everything, we have to follow guidelines. We have to have the support of our accounting group, our auditors, our legal team to get this stuff done. But we're getting through it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the next the next one of the catalysts for the stock. I'm speaking purely from the stock, not the stock. Is one of the catalysts is once you get the DTC eligibility, once you can really get open up the stock to U.S. buyers. I think that'll be important. But I think the big takeaway for today really is I think this Rexall partnership, which really opens up like a pathway, runway to $1 billion market cap. If you get 10% of their into 10% of their locations, 40 stores, $2.5 million each, plus your other business, it's it's 100 million plus revenues.
Yeah, well, I think we're setting the stage for a lot of significant growth. I mean, this is what we've been working toward, and trying to lay this foundation to become this integrated healthcare company that we believe that we can be. And so the pieces are coming together. I'm grateful for everybody's support, for sure. It's important for me to thank everyone. I get a lot of messages from our followers. I attempt to get back to them as try to get back to all of them, but I literally get hundreds of emails every day. So we're doing our best. So thank you for being patient, everybody, if I don't quite get back to you fast enough, or someone from my communications team. But stay with us. We've got a great path forward, we believe. And our motto is always about execution, and we will continue to do that. You've got my commitment that I will continue to work hard and execute on behalf of our shareholders. And I'm looking forward to sharing where things are going this quarter and into the balance of 2021 and beyond. I think we got a nice path ahead.
Fantastic, Steve. On that note, I want to thank you. We're going to catch up with you soon, because we have a lot of questions we didn't get a chance to answer. We're going to answer them on the next live stream. Steve, thank you again, and
yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate the time and the support.
Okay, thank you, and everybody in the audience. Obviously we've seen a lot of people thank you, so they all thank you. We'll see you again soon, Steve. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, wow, amazing stuff. All right, let's get ready. Let's get ready to meet our next presenter, our next potential 10-bagger. We're just, we got 10 baggers coming out of the woodwork right now. Let's see here. Let me just get things ready for Chris. Okay, hang on one second. Okay, and okay, there we go. Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for staying by. This is, hopefully next, in a few months, maybe you could be on one of these extended live streams when your stock goes to, 18x.
Well, I mean, you only want 10 baggers, you said. I heard you say that.
No, 100 baggers.
100 baggers.
We're getting a little more, we're raising the standards. We haven't had too many 10 baggers. We need to raise standards. We need to know actually, Chris, I think really the idea for today is, the point of today's interview, the bottom line is, I guess investors want to know, what is the path, for bets, i3 Interactive. Can this be, our next 10 bagger, 20 bagger? What can this become a, $5 stock? So I'll kind of open up with that question. What's the path for this to being a, $5 stock for starters?
I mean, we can talk about,
wait, hold on, wait. Before we get into that, I'm going to interrupt you. First, for anybody that's new, what does i3 Interactive do?
So i3 Interactive, we're a full service gambling company, online gambling company in regulated markets. We offer casinos, sportsbook, and then in some regulated markets, we offer both daily fantasy sports as well as poker. So that's more of our India, Latin America focus right now. Okay. And then in North America, we're more of a casino, online casino, and sportsbook through blitzbet.eu.
Okay, and so the main market is India. Your main market, from what I understand.
Well, it was our starting point as a management team. So I've been in the business for 20 plus years. 2003, I started. I had my first site in 2003. I sold all my sites in 2010. It's a massive. The gambling market is a massive market, but the bottom line is it's a small community. So I went out and recruited, when the U.S. legalized, all of the best management team that we could get. Like all of the guys that I've been friends with for 20 plus years, from PokerStars, Bet365, Victor Chandler, Bodog, and there's no company that we didn't attack their C-suite level management to make the best management team I possibly could come up with. Now, from that, we decided on a strategy where we would enter the India market initially through acquisitions. And then from that, we will pivot into the US in year one, which you'll see in the coming months.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting. I haven't come across too many companies that are active, in the gaming space in India. Tell us about that. And for anybody that doesn't know, what's the opportunity about? What do they bet on? How big is the market? All that good stuff.
I mean, the India market, we have 1.3 billion people. 65% of their population is under 35. Just one sec. There's something on my screen there. Since COVID in a complete lockdown, the revenue streams for gambling companies have gone through the roof. Skill-based gaming is massive in the India market. So we use all of us as a management team, we studied the markets and how we would enter, how we would get to cash flow positive in the fastest way possible. It was through India. I'll give you an example. A cost per acquisition.
I think also the audience should know you know this business. You've been at this business since really its infancy, 20 plus years. So if you were saying India is the place to start,
I was a kid.
It's compelling.
Yeah. So the main, if you look at any gambling company, the real key, the key points that, if I looked at a balance sheet income statement, is what is your cost per acquisition? In the India market, we're getting CPAs of less than $25. And then your LTV, which is your lifetime value of those customers, are in the $150 to $200 US range. So, we're making 7-8 times our investment in the India market on players. In the US, I'll give that as an example. Right now, I won't name companies, but the top 3 companies in the US, in some cases, they're paying $500 to $1,000 and taking losses on the ROI of the cost per acquisition, just to do a land grab so their competitors can't basically get those players. I'm not in that market where I lose money when I do an acquisition. We're, as a company, we made the conscious choice to do deals that make sense, to do acquisitions that make money. And that is why we chose the India market initially. So we acquired right now we're the third fastest growing poker site in the Indian market. We're on the Spartan network, BLITF, Blitz Poker. And then we just acquired for $8.7 million live pools, which if we're doing comparison as a guy that have been in the industry with a management team that's been in the industry, we look at live pools basically as DraftKings. So the number one largest DFS company in the India market is a company called Dream 11. They're worth $2.5 billion. So yes, they have a head start on everyone. Their main sports are cricket, soccer, tennis. And what we did was we decided that, look, we want to create an ecosystem in the India market. I literally look at it as, okay, we have poker. It's a skill game. We have DFS. 55, it's a known stat in our gambling world and industry, if you do research, that 55% of all DFS players, daily fantasy sports players, will cross-market and convert into poker players. So if we're making, let's call it $3 to $10 million in revenue from our poker from our DFS site, 55% of them will cross over, and then all of a sudden the lifetime value of those players will double to triple because we're actually selling them a different product. So we're creating a full ecosystem in the India market. It's one of our focuses now, and now we'll be talking in the months to come, but we're pivoting now into the US, North America market. We're live in Canada. We have a sports book doing probably $1 million to $1.5 million in gross gaming revenue in the first 6 months. We'll do that this year. In our India assets, we'll do another few million. So our goal for year one was get everything set up in order, and then conquer India, get the right assets, do the right acquisitions, and then pivot with our strategic plan into the United States market, which is why you're seeing Penn National trading at $80 to $100 when it's a land-based casino and it only owns 30% of Barstool. Or another Canadian competitor we have is trading with a $1.6 billion market cap, and they have negative gross gaming revenue for the last 3 quarters, whereas we're a company with we have multiple $1 million in gross gaming revenue. So, one of the key things with us is we're brand new to the market. Not many people know. Shows like this is what's going to get us exposure, and people will start to understand the upside in what we're doing.
Okay. So let's talk about the upside. So,
Sure.
What are you doing? What are you doing right now in revenues? The run rate, approximately, like what kind of run rate?
I would guess we will do anywhere from 3.5 to 5 million in year one. Keep in mind, we didn't launch. That's just gross gaming revenue. Keep in mind, we didn't launch. We launched. We went public July 2nd. We launched our sportsbook casino just in Canada and the Canadian market in August 10th, if I was guessing. And then we did an acquisition of our poker company on the Spartan network, which is Blitz Poker. And then December 22nd, we closed on Live Pools, which was an $8.7 million acquisition of a DFS company with 1.7 million customers who are untapped to cross-market into our other products.
Wait, so you have right? How many customers do you have? How big is your database right now?
If I was guessing, I would say we're between 2 and 3 million.
2 and 3 million customers that you have
in 7 months.
Okay. And have they all bet? Have they all spent money?
That I would have to go through. I mean, that's a tough call. Like, there's retention, There's,
Okay.
there's conversion. Like we have players that, are consistently VIPs that are worth a lot of money. You have a guy puts on $20, plays a DFS tournament, and then we might not see him for 6 months. So, we're talking registrations when I say customers.
Okay. What is that worth? What are the metrics in this industry? Like, maybe you can share some of the, what are the valuations like?
Like 2010, I sold all of my company at a multiple of about 14 times. That was in 2010. 14 times revenue. Right now, you have companies acquiring assets for 20 to 25x. Like if you just look
revenues.
Revenues. They're trading at 20 plus revenue, 20 times revenue.
Okay. How many shares out do you have right now? Like fully diluted approximately.
So we were extremely worried when COVID hit, and it was something that we planned for. So we have 100-ish million shares outstanding, and then we baked in another 30 million in warrants. So we didn't know what was going to happen. Our ability to go out and raise money with funds, institutional investors. So we baked in for the management team $30 million in warrants. So we have I think we have another 60 million in shares and warrants that we can access. They're between 25 cents and $1.50.
Okay. So right now, so the valuation, so still right now the company is trading, significantly, below it, below its peer, the valuation is significantly below its peers in the public gaming space.
I would say we are
less than half.
Way less. If you look at the score, I know both John and Benji. I had a TV show a long time ago. We almost did a number of deals at the score. I'm not picking on them, but they're trading at $1.5 billion market cap with negative gross gaming revenue for the last 2 quarters in sports betting. We barely touched the surface in our marketing. We'll do $1 million in gross gaming revenue this year in our sports betting, in our sports book. We also have Andy Lee and Ian Merriman running our sports book, which is our big advantage. If you were to ask me what it is, they both ran PokerStars for 5 years. They turned that into a $100 million profit center for the Stars group. So I recruited them from PokerStars. Their both backgrounds are Bet365. Victor Chandler, Ian was the head trader at both, and then at Stars. And then Andy was the head of online at William Hill for 13 years. He was an analyst, and he took Party Poker public, and then joined us as our managing director of sportsbook and casino.
Okay, so you get some heavy hitters on the team.
It's just relationships. A long time in the business, doing deals. So, we've attracted the best, and now it's time to execute on our strategy.
Okay. What, actually, so what, in terms of how big, based on what you have right now, the assets, what do you think you could generate, let's say 18 months from now? What kind of run rate can you hit?
Our India, we'll look at it as 2 segments. Our India assets, they're trading at 20 to 25x revenue. This year we'll do 3 to 5. Next year we're projecting 2021, 2022, 10 to 20 million. That's just in our India assets. We're creating a large ecosystem there where our cost per acquisition, we're going to get that down to basically a 0, not a close enough to a 0. When I say 0, it means that our own players from all of our different properties and assets, we're cross-marketing to those players to come across, play DFS. So our poker players will be fed marketing information and opportunities to come across and play DFS. The 2 million registrations we have in our DFS will be cross-marketed our poker. I think that business can be a $100 million business, which would give us $1 a share. If no warrants were executed. Our North American business,
$100 million revenue business valuation. Okay. Yeah.
And then our U.S. North America business, that is where our real big opportunity is. We're inches away from, we're on the goal line, we'll call it in the NFL, to doing a deal with a multi-billion-dollar, one of the largest companies in the gaming space in the US, where we'll become their partner in every state as we go forward in every state in the United States.
Okay, so you got some exciting things happening here. Let's get into some questions, audience questions here. Jayant is asking, associating your brand. Are you doing something with
we are
in India?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we've signed a number of we have the captain of the India cricket team as one of our influencers, and he's driven over 20 million people to our poker site in the last quarter, I guess 3-4 months since the summer. And then we have IPL starting in March, and I mean he will be highly influential.
What's his name?
Do you want me to grab it? Because it's I'll grab his name. I don't want to say it wrong. Just give me 2 seconds. I apologize. I should have this written down. He plays it with one of the number one teams in the cricket league in India, and he's the captain of their national team.
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds. His name is Dinesh Karthik. That's the problem is his last name with me all the time. Okay. Dinesh Karthik. And so we also have Randir Singh, who's he's a Bollywood star. Randir would have, I think, 80 million followers. So we're doing a lot of work with social. We figure print, radio, stuff like that is just so out of date in our industry. We want we want to be able to track directly where our players are coming from and how much it's costing us, instead of basically, taking out a print ad in the cricket magazine in India. So we've been highly successful. I mean, we're the third fastest growing poker site in India right now, behind Ada and PokerStars.
Okay, so the cricket is the way to go in India.
Cricket in India is absolutely, it's NFL. It's the NFL in North America.
I remember some guy told me he actually would watch. I know there's some sort of playoff, and it's like 12 hours a day, and you'd watch it for like 12 hours a day for like a week. Some sort of, I don't know what the event is. I mean, I don't know what cricket. I mean, cricket is basically big.
I have this argument with our managing director, Andy Lee. He will watch a cricket match for 2-3 days, place a bet on it through a different site, not our site, and he'll watch a cricket match for 2-3 days on the weekend.
Oh, here we go. This is it.
There it is. He's captain of IPL Team KKR. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kohli. What is Kohli? Oh, I think he was. I guess he was guessing. Okay, so Karthik. Okay. Okay. Virat Kohli. Is that? Do you know? No. I think that was guessing. No, it's the other guy.
Yes.
Okay. Dinesh Karthik. No, wait.
Karthik. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad you're struggling with it as well.
Okay. So we got. Let's get some questions here. What percentage are you? I mean, you basically just started. What kind of metrics? Like,
we're 5x. When we purchased the poker site, we've grown that from 25,000 a month to approximately 200,000 US a month since we bought it. So it's like 10x from where we started. It's growing right now. I mean, we're the third fastest growing poker site in the Indian market. We've held the largest poker tournaments ever in the Indian market in the last 6 months. And we're highly focused. We have a team that grew in the 2 senior executives from another company that basically turned Latin America and India into a $600 million profit center that are running that market for us.
Okay, so you got some heavy hitters on board. I mean, it's one of the questions I always ask is, tell us about who's on your team there. So I'll tell you what, let's kind of recap, just do a quick rundown because that's an important question. So who are the key players on the team running doing the operations here?
So we have, I'll give you some background on them.
Yeah.
Our managing director for our sportsbook and casino is Andy Lee. He was 13 years as chief operating officer at William Hill. William Hill was a $4 billion company. He retired, when Ralph Topping, the CEO, retired, Andy moved over to PokerStars to launch StarsBet, which is their U.S. product that operates in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and a few other states. They turned Andy and Ian Marmon. They basically were the two guys who launched and ran. Ian's the head trader. He's our head trader. He was the head trader at Bet365, Victor Chandler, and now he's with us. And him and Andy launched successfully and turned Stars into a $100 million product. From our content perspective, we have Joe Holka. Joe ran Fantasy Lab, which is a Mark Cuban company, which was acquired by the Action Network. So Joe runs all of our content for all of our sites. In Latin America, India, we have both Jesse and Saxton. They come from, their background is they were the CEO and COO of Bodog, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. And they're running out of India and Latin America. They're both there. They're running all of those assets we're acquiring and bringing other assets to the table as we move forward here.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry, to answer this question, you did not. Dream 11 is a big. You did not buy Dream 11.
No, they're worth $2.5 billion. We didn't buy them. We're gonna. We'll take it slow. We just we'd like to be number 2 now.
Jant is asking, what about what's the legal situation about gambling in India? How are you making?
Sportsbook and casino is illegal right now. It's legal in some jurisdictions in India. We're really focused on the skill gaming, i.e., poker and DFS.
Okay, and that
both are legal. Yeah, both are legal.
Okay. What's Shafin is asking, what's your biggest advantage compared to other companies in the space besides your team? It's
hard to get away from our team. It's 20. We're our 5-6 senior level guys have all been in the industry for 20 years. If I had a loony for every time a headhunter contacted me or a guy on our team to go work for one of the US companies, because the US market, the biggest problem they have is getting really, really good employees because it didn't exist. There was no online gambling unless it was offshore illegal gamblers. So they're trying to recruit from the European market. So they have guys from Europe coming in and trying to shove down the throats of US gamblers a European offering. So, we have a team that has worked in all markets, and I would say it's our number one competitive advantage. And, we look at the India market as 2003, if everyone remembers, when the Chris Moneymaker poker boom happened. So back in 2003, we had an explosion of online poker. We are there. If you looked inside of the metrics, which we've studied for 7-8 months prior to entering the market with acquisitions, the India market is exploding, similar to what the US did. Now it's exploding in the daily fantasy sports the same way DraftKings and FanDuel did. So look at they brought up Dream 11. That's FanDuel right now. Our goal is to become the DraftKings of India, and that is
DraftKings of India is the goal.
That's, if you ask me, who are we trying to become in the DFS space with live pools? We in a year, or the company has 1.7 to 2 million registered users, and then during IPL, our acquisition. We'll be doing, 1,000 to 10,000 new registrations a day.
Yeah, no, that's massive. And what's amazing is, I think this is a great, everybody, a lot of investors are looking for, pure play in an emerging growth market. How many good pure plays are there on India right now? This is a great play because this is like a pure play on the basically the growing middle class.
We're using, just to be clear, India is one of our focuses. but we're using that as as our cash cow. So we're setting that up to be a very highly profitable sector of our company, with our second, our pivot as we, enter the second half of the first year in business into the United States and North America market.
We got a question here. How much cash do you have for M&A? I guess the question is, are you planning to do any acquisitions?
We literally just closed 5-6 weeks ago on an $8.7 million acquisition of Live Pools, which is the DFS company. And yes, I was on with one of our partners last night, and we're highly focused on the right acquisitions. And I would say we will do another acquisition in the next 2 quarters.
In the next 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. When you said something interesting, you said highly focused on the right acquisitions. What is the right acquisition? What's what kind of
vertical integration? Vertical integration, where companies are monetized, they're doing well, but we can take their database and create a much higher lifetime value. For example, our poker players. Let's say the average poker player in India is worth $250. If we cross-market that poker player to a DFS player, all of a sudden that $250 may go up to $400. So we acquire that player for under $25. We cross-market them a second product that they're not playing currently, and then we just increased, our margin on that player by 50 to 70%. So we're very focused on vertical integration and buying companies that we can use their database to monetize in other areas of our company.
Okay. So in terms of, so let's talk about what's your vision for i3? What is this company going to look like? Let's just say, 2 years from now. What's your vision for this company? Assuming everything goes.
If I gave you like the 2 pillars as of today without adding anything else, we'd be one of the top 2 operators in the India market, if not sold, be bought out because of how fast our growth. We're growing at 5x. We're the 3rd fastest growing company in that market right now. In the U.S. market, based on the deals we're going to do in the coming weeks, I would say 24 months, there'd be probably 20-ish states open to take business in casino and sportsbook. We would be pretty close to fully integrated operating in those 20 states as a B2C provider.
To consumer. So it's a direct okay.
Business to consumer. Yes.
Okay. And what kind of revenues would you be generating? What would the metrics look like 2 years from now? Again, assuming everything goes right, what's the picture?
I don't want to project 2 years out, but the sky's the limit. And if anyone knows, what these companies are trading at, it's absolutely insane. Everyone's moving online. The biggest thing with the pandemic and the biggest advantage online companies have, and a group like us, is, all of the people that got in their car and drove to the casino are now realizing they can, sit in their pajamas and get the same entertainment on a Friday or Saturday by playing slots, by playing blackjack. And there's a huge problem for the land-based operator. That is, we're getting 30 to 40% increased clientele that have never played online. So our goal is to educate them more and more about the online market, because, with COVID, they can't, walk into the Wynn Casino or, the Flamingo in Vegas because of regulations and rules.
Okay. Question from Mayank. Are you planning to bring an NBA or NFL star for the North American market, as DraftKings brings on Michael Jordan?
Yeah, he's just a board member, to be honest. He would have gotten equity, as we know, for that. He's not the face of their brand or anything such like that. Yes, we are exploring. We're working with marketing agencies now for influencers in the North American market, and we'll probably drill down to localizing that. So instead of doing, a nationwide, we'll probably get local based on our rollout state by state. So in the US market, it's completely different where each state is like its own country. You cannot, gamble. If you're in New Jersey, as soon as you cross that line and to get to New York, you can't place a bet. So you're hyper focused on the markets that you're in. It looks like the first market we'll be entering is Tennessee. So we'll be focused on, an influencer in the Tennessee market. Second market most likely will be Illinois, New Jersey, and then we'll continue to move from there.
Okay, no, so, I mean, I got to tell you, Chris. So, yeah, from speaking to you, it sounds like you really know, this business, like operationally, like how what works in local markets. So it's
you've got to localize. That's the biggest problem with. If you look at what is happening and happened over the years with DraftKings going to Europe and the European brands coming into the North American market, they're shoving down everyone's throat. Let's take William Hill, for example. I'm not trying to badmouth anyone, but they did a $20 to $50 million spend with the NHL just to become the official sports book. But what is the real ROI on that? It's very minimal because, they're advertising on just NHL.com. There's no real, high conversion rate to get a low cost per acquisition for that company. So they're using, tactics that worked in Europe in the soccer industry and trying to just drive that into the US consumer. Whereas, a company like DraftKings, who I'm, I'm bullish on, they'll be still around in 5 years. I think a lot of the European brands will be gone.
Okay.
I think Barstool and Penn will be still FanDuel, Barstool, Penn. But I think a lot of the European brands will realize they can't compete with the localized marketing that the big brands are doing in the US.
Or they could buy you.
I'm very open to that. and so would our shareholders.
Okay. So the path, I think the first thing I asked you, well, what's the path to $5 a share to being so $5, what? That's $1 billion valuation, no? Or
yeah, we're at 80 million, 80, 90 million right now. It's more of awareness and allowing us to execute on our plan. We're only a 7-month-old public company. We've been planning this for a year and a half, our management team. And, give us a year. We're having a different conversation next year. If we're not at $4 or $5, I will be highly shocked if we execute on our plan. The reason why I went out and hired all the people I did is because they have a track record of success of execution. You don't build multiple billion-dollar brands without execution.
Okay. Michael's asking, what's the debt and what's the balance sheet?
We have no debt. Cash, I would say, it depends on how much of our warrants they're exercised. We would have probably, we're doing about $3 million in revenue, and then we'd have another few $1 million in cash on hand based on a raise. We have a plan to do a $10 to $40 million raise in the coming months as our stock grows, and we don't dilute the people that came in early. So we're going to be very careful on dilution.
Okay. Ramsey's asking, any plans for doing things in China?
China is a black market, they consider it, which is fully illegal. We do not have plans to operate in any unregulated market.
Okay. Mohammed, I agree with this. CEO knows this industry. Knowing the industry is the key. Okay. Let's Chris, let's kind of wrap up here.
Sure.
What can we expect from the company in terms of news flow over the next, let's call it 6 weeks? What kind of catalyst what catalyst do you have in place? What's going on for the next
we'll give an update of our current, the IPL will launch in March. So we'll be doing a lot of news on how our DFS product is growing, and with the cricket launching for their new season. And you're going to start seeing a lot of news about our US entry and our US strategy. And that would be, we will have a full Me and you will have a full show probably to discuss that because it'll be one of the biggest deals in the US.
Okay, so the U.S. entering U.S. market is the upcoming catalyst.
It's one of them. Yeah, it's
Okay.
60 to 90 days is the plan right now. We're rebranding a site right now to launch in a U.S. state as we speak, and
Okay.
we're going through the regulatory regime to get licensed.
Okay. Chris, I'm going to ask you. Last question. This is what we ask every CEO on this program. In your opinion, top 3 reasons why investors should consider BETS today.
I mean, no one knows about us. I mean, that's awareness. I mean, we're starting to actually focus on IR, PR, which we didn't for the first 6 months. We were more interested in building, the right structure and getting everything in place and the right people in place. We have, a team of 20 plus people in Gibraltar that run all of our back end for customer support. We had a lot of things to do when we launched, and now we're just focused on, getting marketing out on who we are. I don't want to use the cliche, but our management team is second to none. Like, I'd put it up against any management team in our entire business. I mean, people can go on and take a look, go on LinkedIn, look at people working for us. I truly believe we have the best management team in online gaming, and I'd put it up against any of them. And the fact that we're creating an ecosystem in an emerging market such as India, that no one, there's very few companies really focused on that market. That is, if anyone knows online gaming and the Chris Moneymaker effect from 2003, we're seeing that exact thing happen over there. Like, so poker was a huge boom from 2001 or 2002 to 2006. And then UEGA happened. And then 2010 Black Friday happened. In that time, like, poker was what everyone was doing. We're seeing that same boom. We've all been through it, all of the management, and I'm seeing the same growth rates. I'm watching. It's like I'm watching a movie from 2004 here, when we had our other poker company going, and that it's one of the key attributes to our business is that growth in the India market.
So it's almost like somebody, to use an internet analogy, it's almost like the start of the .com era when somebody could have gotten in on Amazon in 1997, or it was still just on 98, whatever it was.
100%. I mean, look at the multiples that the gambling companies are trading at right now. Think about when the next time you're going to see a packed casino, a land-based casino. Never. I'm short a lot of the casino companies unless they have a very strategic online strategy, and I'm long all of the online companies that have really great brands and really great strategies. This market is, it's one of the oldest gambling. Online gambling is, it's been ongoing since before 2000. It's not going away. The tax money $1 billion a month is gambled in New Jersey. Like, they're making 16.5% of $1 billion each month. So the government are making $165 million in tax revenue for a small state like New Jersey. Like, what happens when California opens? What happens when New York opens? This market is, they're saying it's a certain level, but I'm bullish. I think it's 10x what they think. I don't think they understand how much money is being bet with their local bookies and how much money is being bet offshore with those companies that still exist, that operate in unregulated markets.
Excellent. Okay, Chris, last comment question. Janita is saying, you got to get this guy Virat Kohli.
Yeah, we know who he is. Yeah, we're very familiar with him. We have an agency that we work with in India, and we've had talks with them. There's a number of people in that market. We're going to be adding certain influencers in Canada, US. I mean, we've worked with Nick Kyprios from the NHL, Sean Avery. We have a number of different influencers that we've worked with over the last year in the markets that we're operating, and we're continuously focused on that because we're seeing our highest ROI. And you're starting to see brands like MGM use Jamie Foxx. People are starting to catch on that it's the fastest way to get the cheapest cost per acquisition.
Excellent. Chris, on that note, thank you for telling the story to our audience. We're going to catch up with you in a couple of weeks, hopefully on the next broadcast. And again, our goal is not 10 baggers. We're looking for 100 baggers now. So, we're raising our standards. You better meet those standards.
I'm not sleeping much, so I'll do my best.
Fantastic. Chris, thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.